If you're in doubt about angels being real.
Gidget, a TV show from 1965 that ran for 2 seasons because it went up against the Beverly Hillbillies and, well, just couldn't compete. Now, this is the very first show I've ever seen a young girl protagonist and just sort of has an over-the-top personality, which seems to be focused at young girls. However, it's focused at men, too, especially older, creepier ones, because Gidget, a lot of the times, well, she gets fixed up with men that are well outside her age demographic. Keep in mind, she's supposed to be a 15-year-old girl, even though she's played by Sally Fields, who was 17 to 18 at the time. Now, people my age might recognize Sally Fields as the girl from Mrs. Doubtfire. I said the girl from Mrs. Doubtfire. No, the freaking mom from Mrs. Doubtfire. She was also the Flying Nun. It's probably a show I'm gonna cover at some point in time down the road. And in the show, it's all about a father-daughter relationship. Those aren't the only characters here. We have her sister, who acts as a mother figure. Because the mom is dead, the father is a widower, after all. And then there's the brother-in-law, which is a psychologist, which doesn't ever seem to give the right answers to anything. If anything, he comes off kind of like a nitwit and the moron. Now, one of the reasons I love watching old shows is just to see the old, antique, equipment, televisions in the background, and beautiful couches too. Like, Colonel Mustard here, my favorite couch in the house. And this does not disappoint because it's in full color. Matter of fact, this was ABC's first TV show to be in color all the way through its running, and they really used that as a selling point. Another thing they use as a selling point through most of the episodes is the beach theme. Now, keep in mind, at the time, you couldn't show a whole lot of skin on television unless it was in the proper environment. That's why I Dream a Genie couldn't show off a belly button, and maybe some other shows couldn't even see 2 people sleeping in the same bed. However, in this show, because if you're at the beach, you could have some pretty small bikinis, which just might keep the menfolk tuning in to watch this teenage girl. So what are the rules that this show follows? Well, it can't follow rule number 1 because having an underage girl being the hot girl really doesn't fit very well, even though they show a whole lot of feet every chance they get, and quite frankly, that's weird. No, it follows rule number 10, which states that you have to have a good sidekick, in which case Gidget really does, with this girl who seems to be allergic to the sun with a heavy beach theme, means there's going to be a lot of comedy involved. And really, that's the only rule that I saw. So let's look at the episode. Now, in today's episode, we hear Gidget screaming as her dad tries to shave, and he finds out that it's just some type of Beatles knockoff that are in town. Then, what does Gidget have to do? She has to find the location of these people because she's just so darn in love with them. She takes some money that should be used for the high school dance decorations and instead invests in a map to find their location. Which she then sees a florist and figures, if I could trick the florist to the stars into revealing the location, well then I can meet them and see them. So she goes into the florist and uses up all of the money to, trick him into delivering a single rose, which is the only thing that they had money for an even $20, which at the time I bet was super expensive, but now I feel like that would be the cheap, most bargain thing you could possibly do for a flower delivery system.
The address where they're staying.
Oh, I assumed you knew.
Well, I do. That is, we've delivered. I'm supposed to ask.
But I'm not supposed to tell.
Certainly. I understand. It will be delivered within the hour, Miss, I don't believe I caught the name.
Oh, but I didn't throw it.
Of course, now that they know where they are, and they seem to be in Fort Knox, a place guarded by giant guard dogs, well, there's no way they're gonna get in there to meet their fancy little Beatles guys. So, what do? They have to come up with money, so they decide to go back and buy more maps, write the locations of these guys, and then sell them to their friends for a hefty upcharge. Well, the dad ends up seeing the money and thinks that something's up. He also tells Gidget that the Dinglebats, or whatever the fake band is having a press conference on TV. And then you find out that they're in town for a very quiet wedding. So what does Gidget do? Well, she decides to break into their home in the middle of the night to warn them about everything she did. As if they wouldn't figure it out when 100,000 girls just surround their house. Well, now that she's in, well, she immediately becomes friends with them because she has the type of personality that makes friends with almost anyone almost instantly. It's kind of a charming thing to see. They come up with an idea almost instantly to swap places in different costumes, and the girls drive off, and the Dinglebats tend to get away to live their life and have their beautiful quiet wedding without any interruptions. I guess. Life lessons have to be wrapped up at the end with talking to her dad and saying how hard it is being a celebrity, which I believe Sally Fields probably knows by now. Of course, when you get older, you kind of wish people still remembered your name, which is why you should probably go watch some old TV shows, because I had a great time watching this TV series, and it's going to be one I come back to. Just not for all the weird underage girl feet stuff. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching.
Name again? You know something? You are kind of cute.
Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to cover, like every TV show I possibly can and let you know if it's good or bad. And if you want to see more shows that I've already covered, well, check them out here in the corner. And also, you could check out my video game channel, Second Opinion Games, where I cover a lot of video games and not so many episodes about Sally Fields. And also, keep track of what the 10 rules for coming up with the TV shows are. So far, we covered like 2 of them here, and I think you guys would be interested to find out what the other ones are. So until later, I will see you again, guys.